Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa ashhadu anna la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Wa ashhadu anna habibana wa sayyidana Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now, we've not come to janazah prayers this evening. We've come to talk. We'll talk. I'm certainly not giving a speech. I'm going to share a few ideas, a few thoughts. And I hope that you'll be able to share your thoughts as well. And we'll talk. So we'll see how things go. I arrived yesterday in the Heathrow Airport to yet another media frenzy with Muslims at the centre of it all. The Archbishop suggesting, according to the Daily Express, that we chop people's hands off and stone them to death in the street and force our young sisters to marry their cousins and all sorts of things. And I thought to myself, as soon as I arrived, I thought, here we go again, Muslims at the centre of things. When I was last in the UK, it was in August. And in August, it was foot and mouth. And I remember at the time someone was suggesting it may even have been terrorists caused this foot and mouth, and we all know who these terrorists were, they were Muslims. So we never miss a chance. We never miss a chance in Britain for Muslims to be in the spotlight. Now, I have learned that, in fact, I was told this early on. Here, I think you all maybe know one another, but is there anyone here who no, I won't ask that. I've been told to say, to any talk to Muslim students in the UK, to welcome the policeman who is sitting in the audience. So if there's someone here you're not quite sure who he is or she is, or a new face, well, all we say is you are very welcome. You're very, very welcome. And it could well be that at the end of this evening, that policeman might come to Islam, inshallah. Because, I say it kind of as a joke, but it's not a joke really, because Muslims have nothing whatsoever to hide. Nothing. And Muslims have nothing at all to fear. So even this is just my way of introducing things. Even when helicopter gunships fire rockets at crippled old men in wheelchairs and blow them up, even when our brothers and sisters and our parents are dragged out of their beds at dawn and disappear, even when young men are taken off the street for no reason, even when our brothers and sisters in Gaza are being starved to death and are being denied fuel and medicine and the simplest things in life, even then we have no fear. Why? Because Allah is in charge. Allah is in charge. You know, I'm going to move over here, by the way. I've been a teacher all my life. Everyone's looking that way. So if I come over here, you'll have to stop looking at the door and you look at me instead. It's very distracting if you're all looking that way. As Muslims, all the time people tell us that Islam is rubbish. All the time people tell us that Muslim countries, Arab countries are backward, that they have no democracy and that they have no advanced technology and all of these sort of things. Islam is backward, they tell us. And the problem is, if people keep telling you you're bad, you believe it. You believe it in the end. And it seems to me this is what's happened in Britain. One of the great chances I get is to travel all over the world and to meet Muslims in Canada, and Africa, and Asia, and all over the place. And when you travel all over the place, you see the bigger picture. You know, if you go to one country, that one, like Britain, you go to one country, and that country has its own little problems. You go to another country, that has its problem. Go to Tunisia, and hijab is a problem. Go to Turkey, hijab too is a problem. Come to Britain, terrorists. You know, each country has its problem. Go to another country, difficult to speak out, or you disappear overnight. So each country has its problems. But the bigger picture is that Islam doesn't have any problems. And if I want to say anything to you today, it's that Islam is very beautiful, and Islam is very sweet, and Islam is very gentle. And that message of beauty and gentleness and sweetness touched my heart. And Almighty Allah chose people and events to lead me to Him. And as Muslims, I suggested what we might call these few words tonight is journeying to Islam. Because I'll tell you about my journey. But more important than my journey is, you know, every day we say, or we should say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. We say this. You know, we hear the adhan. We hear these words. But I could sit a parrot there on that lectern and teach it to say, Ashhadu an la ilaha. It wouldn't be a Muslim, would it? So the point of what I'm trying to talk about tonight is journeying to Islam. We're all called by Almighty Allah every day to come to Him. Someone sent me an email last year. He was called Ahmed, a doctor in Kent. And he wrote to me and he said, I am a born Muslim, but I want to become one. And I thought that was a very beautiful thing. I've never forgotten it. I was a born Muslim, but I want to become a Muslim. Every day, we're all called to become Muslims. And one of the problems in life is, you know, the things that are most precious in life, we often take them for granted. You know how a couple, when they've been married for a long, long time, it seems as though they've kind of taken one another for granted. All the romance is gone. They just take one another for granted. And it's only when they die and you lose the one who's most important to you in your life that you realize what you've lost. I mean, think of those, we're not talking about September the 11th, but think about what happened on that day, just by way of introduction. Those people set off to work, they went off to work, and normally when you're leaving home, you don't always, you know, throw your arms around your kids and say, my dear children, I love you so much, you're worth the world to me. And normally, you don't say to your wife, my darling, you are everything in my life, you're everything to me. I can't wait to see you again at the end of the day. Normally we don't say that. But on that day, on September 11th, these people set off for work to their skyscrapers, or they got on the plane, and they went off, and then they didn't come home. They didn't come home. And you know, we read these heart-rending stories of people leaving text messages and voice messages saying, I love you so much. But there's nothing more important to me than you. I'll never see you again. And one of the problems, as it seems to me, is that we do this with Islam. Islam is the most important thing in our lives. And it's only when, and dare I say it, when we lose it, because it happens, we stop praying. You know, we stop going to the mosque. We stop reading the Quran. We stop living a Muslim lifestyle. We do things that we shouldn't do. And it's only then, you know, we've lost the most precious thing of all. So that's the start. I've got all your attention now. You're not looking at the door anymore, so let's do it. Okay, so let me start by quoting you from this book first.